What you're about to hear is pure entertainment, recaps, and stories in the Pacific Northwest motocross scene. Welcome to the 30 Plus 2 podcast with your hosts, Steve and Kristoff and Lexi Y. Put the board up. Let's go!
All right, we are back with the 30 Plus 2 podcast, and we are always having technical difficulties here. So Instagram, be gone, apparently, Lexi. So we're just gonna go with Facebook and YouTube, and it looks like we only have the main Facebook and YouTube for Gate Drop Productions up and available. So whatever Meta's doing, Mark Zuckerberg, I know you switched teams, you're doing UFC and whatnot. Fix your crap, bro. Coming in hot. I don't want to rant, but here we are, Lexi. How is it going? We're on episode 44. You brought on our special guest here, Randall Bray from the Seattle Motorcycle Club. He is now the president for that club. And you have a little bit of info there regarding your weekend that was. So yeah, take us through your weekend. What we look forward to hearing your guests and whatnot. Sorry, I'm a little frazzled right now, Lexi.
This weekend, I was going to go to Washougal, and I had it planned, but then I got the opportunity to go to a track that my dad got to try out last year, and we became members this year of the Seattle Motorcycle Club, and they have a track in Randall, which is by Mount St. Helens. I'm pretty sure that's the mountain. Nice. But it is a super cool private track, and Randall this year became the president of it, which is really cool. And I got to ride with him all Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And we were excited because my sister is really excited to ride that track because it's private. And any girls that want to go out there and ride and be a part of it is more than welcome because that is such a fun track. You don't have to worry about anybody over there and just go ride your own race.
Nice. So you have a little bit of a connection. You were networking. You've been doing a lot lately. If you notice, I posted Beyond the Track with Lexi Y, part of the 2025 season for Pacific Racing Organization. You're now co-host of this. You're pretty much doing it all now, Lexi. How do you feel about all these new adventures and dipping your feet wet with a whole bunch of things that are being provided for you this year?
I am very excited. This is definitely the path I want to go down as soon as I get out of high school. So it's really cool being able to have the opportunities to do the trackside reporting with you and the podcast and making different fun videos for everyone to watch and meet different cool people.
Yeah, and we'll have Randall on here in about 4 minutes. But yeah, as we banter to get everything started here, technical difficulties again, but you can always rewatch on the Facebook and YouTube. So luckily, majority of our guests are going over to those, and we'll keep directing those to the solid channels that work. But yeah, I mean, you jumped in, like I said, let's talk about a little bit how your experience so far. We'll be posting the PRO recap here in a bit. I'm going to try to aim for Friday, just waiting for a few other colleagues of mine to send off the rest of the media and whatnot in order to put it together. But I posted you with Brandon. I gave you a couple of softball interviews, whatnot. How'd you feel going in now that you've been doing podcasting and then now you're in front of the camera doing some trackside reporting? Like, were there any jitters there? Did you kind of feel like, I don't know, were you confident? Like, take us through what you were feeling inside in front of the camera, since I like to throw you in the deep end of the pool every time.
Well, the podcast has definitely helped with being able to just come up with stuff on top of my head and talk about everything. But it was a really cool experience. There was a few of them that I didn't get to know very well, and seeing around their races and talking to them and meeting more of them was really cool. And sometimes it's hard to just like have it right on the spot and like, oh, like add a question here and there. but doing it more definitely has gotten better, and it's exciting getting to know everything and being a part of it.
Have you found yourself like as soon as I'm done recording and we're like, all right, we're done with that rider, you're like, dang, I had another question that you just like thought of as you're walking away. Like that would have been a good question to ask.
It's like as soon as we stop and we start another conversation off camera, it's like, oh, I should have asked about this too.
That's always been my struggle as getting through like podcasting. I started this like back in 2020 when we had the whole shutdown of everything else going on. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm going stir crazy in the house. Like, so I hit up a bunch of people and I'm all like, man, that's a good question I should have asked like years ago. So now I'm like round tabling back to certain guests and whatnot. I'm like, hey, you want to come back on in the future? Because I totally forgot all these questions and whatnot. But yeah, that's cool that you got to try out a new location and make your connections there. Big thing about which I'll talk later on with media talk and how to be in the media, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Like communication is key. I think that's something that is so big about like gaining sponsors, getting to know each group, motorcycle clubs, racetracks, facilities, because the more we communicate to each other and whatnot, it just really helps like, build that platform for all of us and, keeps everything working together. Going into a little bit of your track, as we'll get Randall on here in just a moment, the private track you were on, were you, bar dragging in any corners? Were you throwing fat whips? Were you pulling any Sexton moments or Cooper Webb? Like, what we got?
I was definitely throwing it all over the track, but it was super exciting because when I first got on that track, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to remember there's so many different jumps and corners. I'm never going to put that all together and remember it all. But it's such a cool track, and it is one of the funnest tracks I've ever been on. I did 25 lap moto, and each one are like 2 minutes, and it had so much fun. Like usually I get so bored after like 3 laps. I'm like, I want to do a new track, but that one was so exciting just to have fun. And I went with my dad, my friend Tanner, and Randall, and we rode all day long, and it was so much fun to be able to do it.
Nice. All right. Well, we are at our time to have our guest Randall join. We'll throw in a quick commercial here real quick because I didn't have an intro for Randall since he's brand new to our podcast and whatnot. But hey, if he comes on in the future, I'll definitely have some more content here. So let's run our commercial for Next Level MX Clinics, and we'll get Randall on here. Coming to Horn Rapids Motorcycle Complex, April 7th through 9th. Next Level MX Clinics brings you the 2025 Spring Break MX Camp. Joining forces with the Clinic MX, Jason Valley and Mike Smith have a week full of fun ready for you. Training, coaching, learning on and off the bike, and bonus events included in a week full of fun. Pit bike racing, hole shot challenge, and start school lined up all for you. Join Next Level MX April 7th through 9th at Horn Rapids Motorcycle Complex. To register, head to nextlevelmx.com. Limited spot. All right, and joining us now after our commercial break there, Shore, is Randall Bray, president of the Seattle Motorcycle Club. Welcome to the 30 Plus podcast with Lexi and I. Randall, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I just finished dinner and excited to share some information, and thank you for having us. We really appreciate it because being the club that we are, and we're all pretty aged, we're not very tech savvy at all, so it's really hard for us to get any word out or try to attract new members. Normally it's just, I'm an inspector for King County, and I've brought in a lot of people, plumbing inspector, and a lot of plumbers I've brought in just to the club, and a lot of them come and go. They're not real racers, but they do like to come and ride and all that. So but yeah, it was a great weekend riding with Dan and Lexi and Tanner, the excellent people. And a problem I have is I keep wearing out all my riders that come riding with me in our track. And the latest guy, Larry, he was going for a couple of years, but now he's got problems with his neck. So that's what you run into with old people. But I'm 64. Well, a week from tonight, I'll be 64. So, and still ripping.
Nice. We have plenty of our vet classes and whatnot that goes on around the United States and Oregon, or like Oregon old timers, Washington old timers, all that. I think they've now renamed it to like I think it's like a vet MX class, something like that. But hey, you came to the right place, and having Lexi there, I'm sure she was like, hey, I have this podcast I'm a part of. I also do all of this media stuff. How can I help you expand your guys' club and get to know all the ins and outs? So I told Lexi she's in the driver's seat for our interview here. So Lexi, take it away.
Yes. So with the club, how many years have you been a part of it?
I started in 96, so 28 years. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And if you guys are aware, I'm sure anybody who's been in Pacific Northwest Motocross of Jolly Rogers in Kent, the old racetrack and it was actually there from the 40s, and our club ran until 1999. And believe it or not, it was two dudes that came out of the war, and I don't want to name names because I don't want to muck that up, but and they had a pig farm there. And this is in West Kent, down by Kent Aerospace, off 212. And we were right up against the hill. And so the pig farmer, he said, well, I got all this acreage up here on the hill, and we don't never go up there. So it was $1 a year handshake for 99-year lease. But then he died, and then, of course, the family took it. And so we lost our beautiful track that was 20 minutes from basically anybody in Auburn, Kent area, and we had an AMA National Hill Climb every year. It was a sad day to lose it, but nothing lasts forever.
Right. Sounds like you have a similar dynamic as Port Angeles Olympic Motorcycle Club with hill climbs and racetrack stuff. So going from that location, are you still, like, as you said, it's shut down? Are you going into like a new area up in your area for your Seattle Motorcycle Club? Like, take us through like the location and everything that you have going on now.
Well, it was quite a journey to get our property. We tried many locations, and everything was money, environmental impact studies, this, that. And it's like, we're just a bunch of dudes that want to have a piece of property to ride dirt bikes,
Right.
So, so we ended up, believe it or not, after 10 years in 09, a member from the Jolly Rogers day, the early days, he was a commercial real estate guy, and he dabbled in buying like little hunting properties in areas, because this area, we have a lot of elk and deer on our property all the time.
Yeah.
And so he had little like hunting stands, but kind of it doubled as like an area to sit and watch a little motocross track he had cut in the woods. So it was pretty sweet. I mean, when we first got it in 09, and it was, you couldn't even see, I mean, probably 100 yards into the property. It was so thick, so, and it's opened up a lot. It's just been, the problem is we just haven't had enough word of mouth, to expand enough, so, and then the pandemic, of course, we blame everything on the pandemic, but it kicked everybody in the backside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had to climb out of that, and but it's down in Randall, Washington. It's a beautiful piece of property. We're right off the Cowlitz River. We have pretty much about, I would say, a 90% water station set up on 90% of the track. So we have a 2-minute lap time. Full on motocross track. We have a kids track that we're kind of revamping, because I learned with some beginner people last year that you don't need a bunch of turns and everything. You need just an open area so that, they get confidence. So,
right.
But yeah, so it's a great place. We just had a wonderful work party here, 2 weekends ago, the weekend prior to the folks coming down and riding with us. And yeah, so we're progressing along. We there's a lot more interest. We have a lot of really good people that have been hanging in there for all these years. So, yeah. And so with Lexi coming in, it was very exciting. And because of my thought was, how are we going to generate more interest in our club? And with all of my wife, her friend's a pilot for Delta, our captain, and she was one of the beginners. My daughter-in-law, she was one of the gals, the beginner, and my son works with some engineer people that were interested in coming out. So, that's kind of what I was looking at. And then I heard Dan talking to Lexi's dad here recently, and hearing what he said and his statements about, like, the ladies get pretty trashed on at any practice track. I mean, they don't get any separate practices. I'm guilty of it. I had an incident at Pacific in 2019, and if any ladies could hear this, I feel very sorry, but it was in a practice. They sent us out in practice with the ladies, and I mean, there's a lot of people at Pacific, and I end up going through a corner, and I just straight lined it, and a little hook in the end of it. I could just hear the rocks pinging off all the gals' bike, and I felt so bad. Yeah, I think we've been there as males in the sport. So with Lexi here, and we talked about it, and the club also agrees that we want to open up our track and have only all women ride weekends. Whatever Lexi wants to put together, she's in the driver's seat of this. We're giving her the wheel, and we want her to take it and run. And I think if you do it, I think we're going to give a swing at maybe 20 max. I mean, if we got that many, that'd be stoked. But I mean, we got to be careful because we're kind of limited on our parking, and I don't want to get it kind of overloaded, and
Right.
Yes. Which is exciting about that is I've always wanted to get a whole bunch of the girls, like Lindsay Moe, Race, like all of those girls, and like Olivia Pugh and all the fast ones. It'd be so cool to have like a girls' ride day. We can all ride with each other, have a barbecue, play games after. And I was like, what kind of track could we do this at? And then going to the track this weekend, it was such an eye opener that there's places we can play cornhole. We can have a fire. We can all park. We can ride all day long and just have so much fun. And I love hanging out with some of the girls that I meet along the way, and building the sport with other girls on the track is definitely where I want to go.
Right. And what's nice in your neck of the wood, Randall, is like we have all these tracks up in the Northwest for like kind of around your area, like you're talking about Pacific and whatnot. There is a pretty decent sized women's class that's developing up, especially in Washington there, because you even have Monroe Arena Cross. Like they had about 12 women this winter racing and whatnot. And then Moto Pacific, what's named now at SIR. Like they have a pretty good turnout there where Lexi's battling with certain riders and whatnot. And I feel like, if that's the angle you guys want to do to like help grow your guys' club and then get more, contributions and whatnot to help your facility, that definitely is a great idea to put something together. And Lexi, you seem to have like control of everything now. I've even told her, like, I don't think I need to be part of our podcast. She could just be the main host of everything at this point, since she's taking the wheel on pretty much everything.
Right on. Good for you.
Yes. And for other people that are wanting to join or thinking about joining, what are some things that are required, and how do you get into the club?
Well, you can get a hold of me if you want to write an email address down. It's smc98377@gmail.com. It's pretty simple. If you're a moto head, and I have a real easy time remembering the zip code because of the last three numbers, 377. If anybody knows who the ex-pro in our past that ran number 377, there's your trivia question for the day. Anyways, it was Kristoff Porcel.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I've been in moto my whole life, and I have boxes of Cycle News from the McGrath era, all through the 90s, and the best era in my eyes of moto. I grew up in it. My son raced. We put him through it. I mean, it's just been Oh, and so my wife threw this in. So yes, how to join. I got off key. I'm sorry.
No,
So
we can bench race as much as you want, Randall, because that is my era too, from the 90s. Lexi's the young buck here. I'm like in the mid part here. Like I can go all the way from Bob Hanna to everywhere. Like I was trained pretty well by my dad, so we could always go into bench racing of old races and current.
oh, dude, it's bothersome when these young guys name, who would you put up on the national
Mount
monument
Rushmore.
in South Dakota, and they never even say, to me, the man of all time is Marty Smith, number one, because he was the first American champion. He was the guy that everybody emulated because he was the best looking California super dude, had it all, man. I mean, he had it all.
Lexi, do you know who Marty Smith is? Oh
No.
boy, Randall, you're gonna have to drop some knowledge on our future club here and like break out some history books of motocross and like catch Lexi up here. She's a little bit behind here.
Well, Bob Hanna, everybody knows Bob.
Yes, I've definitely heard that name once or twice.
All right, Lexi's back on the good list here. But anyways, back to your question, Lexi.
So yes, so to join the club, we do club meetings. We try to do them monthly. You can come. You got to do a total of 4 or 6 total club events, a couple being work parties, and you can do meetings. And we are now doing podcast type meetings just like this because we do have people, that live clear up north, too far to drive to, just to have a meeting with everybody. So those would count towards your membership. And right now, so a full membership. So if you did 6 meetings, then you would pay the $300 right now membership, and then a $50 initiation fee. And and we did the math here on what we've been doing. So then once you become a member, you as a full member, then if you did 4 work parties a year, and this is what sunk us, then you'd only pay $100 a year. So then we were kind of having 20 guys that were just paying $100 a year. And it's kind of like, we're just barely keeping our head above water, because we have to pay insurance, power, and yada, yada, to have a piece of property like that. So,
well, that's what I try to bring the light, especially with my line of work of media for the whole Pacific Northwest and now promoter status. Is like, there's so many costs that goes in that I don't think a lot of people kind of recognize that goes on. You have the water, you've got even heat. Like if you got a building, you've got porta potties that got to be cleaned. You have a whole laundry list of things, and it does add up. So that is great that you guys, you use work parties, and then you also have membership fees and whatnot to keep yourselves afloat. Because at the end of the day, we all are trying to have fun, but it does cost like time and energy and money to keep things going.
Yes. So we are upping our membership fees across the board. No more get out of jail free card, pay $100 a year. That's kind of, that worked about 15 years ago when we first started. But as prices have went up on everything, as we all know, and probably still climbing. So, but we do need to just keep us afloat, and we do. And we're going to raise the prices so we have a little wiggle room, because then like now, if we want to do some tractor work, we're all having to pitch in $100, which, to me, I don't mind, but, not everybody's me. And some people are on a tight budget and can't do stuff like that. So, and then we also right now have an associate membership where you can just pay $400 and then a $50 initiation fee. And you basically just get a key, but you don't have any voting rights in the club. You're just basically using our club, and you don't get to bring any friends. It would be family only. And we kind of, so with membership, say if with Lexi and Dan joined, Dan was a past member, so I'm not going to put him through the 5 meetings. He already did all that stuff, and going back to Jolly Rogers, when I first joined, and your father was already a member, but he joined at 18, he said. And but when I joined, there was a 150 person wait list and 150 members. We'd go to a meeting. it was like a party. It was on. So so that's, and then, so, and then jump forward, we, most of the people stepped away because, we don't have a track. So that's where we lost most of our people. So, but we're still keeping it afloat. And like I said, so you can join it at 400, and I got off the line again. So, and, so that's how to join any other. If I kind of went all over the place on that, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's an open podcast. We're kind of like Joe Rogan. We're only 25 minutes in, so like we still got a half hour.
Oh, serious? You got other guests, so I don't want to take up too much.
It's just you tonight. It's just me and my own TED Talk, which that can be any time. I tend to talk a lot. Lexi tries to put me on mute at times. Kidding.
So stepping away from the club, how did you get into dirt bikes, and when did you start, and did you start racing right away, or was it just riding?
Well, when I was like 5 years old, so that would be like 1966, my cousins had a tote goat, and it was like all I'd ever want to do. They lived in Woodinville, and they had just moved back because he traveled around and chased all of where they're building rockets and all kinds of Uncle, I forget his name, man. It's been so long. But anyways, we'd rode that tote goat day in and hour after hour all day long, and I couldn't wait to go up there again. What are we going up there? What are we going up there? It was like a drug, it was like, man, you know how it is, the addiction to go ride your dirt bike. And well, it's never quit. But so anyways, I rode off and on, and that was in the air when dirt bikes, they didn't even have a mini bike for kids. I mean, you had the GT80 Yamaha Mini Enduro, Mini Trail 50. There was no race bikes, but people made them, and then then it started to come in, and so all we had also was magazines. And you go with Dirt Bike Magazine. That was a big one back in the day. Motocross Action was actually around. I don't know back then, but I mean,
they were around.
Yeah, but then Cycle News, once I got older, I got into that. But anyway, so then fast forward. So you asked. So anyways, I just kept my dad. He had old, like a 175 Honda Scrambler. Like they had the old side pipes, and he used to ride me all over. And it was really cool. They used to run up, if you know where the Yellow Beak is, the tavern up there towards Enumclaw. Anyways, they used to run in a grass field. They just tape off or use tape or whatever and line out a field out in the middle of a grass pasture and just have a race. And I mean, my dad would take me up to those. We watched that. And they used to do one down at Russell Road. I'm sure you know where Russell Road is down there. It's a golf course now. They did the same there. And then they used to do hill climbs, of course, at Jolly Rogers. We went and watched. But then they do random ones just on these hills in Auburn, right out towards Auburn Golf Course. They just rip it up this side hill there. And where else? I mean, there was a couple other places. I mean, this would push me way back when I was a little tyke, but yeah, so that's kind of where, all the interest started, going around with my dad on a bike like that, and, thinking I'll BA, I'm the baddest kid around, going to my dad. We didn't wear helmets back then, Jeez, that was,
well, you guys had so
didn't.
much freedom back then. That's what made it so much fun for you guys. Like we have so much more limitations now. That's where it kind of like is hard for us to have fun. Like my dad, Mark Kristoff, he used to ride over, because I'm from Oregon and we're in Oregon. They used to ride over in like Hillsboro and Murray Hill and whatnot. And as long as they didn't they rode ride in the farmer's land or whatnot, as long as they didn't ride on the crops and rode the roads, like they were perfectly fine to ride their dirt bikes wherever they wanted. And that sounds similar situation up there for you as growing up. Just all the endless possibilities you guys had.
Yeah. So, and then it's coming along in 1973. That's when the first XR75 came out. And of course, us kids drooling in the magazines. Oh man, I gotta have that, and and all that. And I'd rode the SL70s. That kind of preceded the XR75. Well, then at that point, I had pressure in the parents, and I worked my butt off. Typical kid. Just I gotta have this bike. So they did everything they demanded. Or not demanded. I did everything possible to try to allow me to get a bike. So fast forward to Christmas that year. Okay, son, we had a split tri-level house. You need to go to your room. this is off.
Right.
So I go bombing in my room, and I hear a truck pull up, garage door up and down, bam, bam. Okay, come down. Well, I don't know where this ever came from, but they got me a ping pong table. Oh, dude. And
like, yeah,
I was
that's
like,
not it.
I mean, to bring a kid to the highest high, you know, because I didn't even peek out the window, you know. Oh, dude. Yes. So fast forward 3 months. My birthday, like I said, is a week away, March 18th. And I shamed them so much that they took me down to Hinshaw's in Puyallup. And I proudly rode home in the back of the truck because we didn't have tie downs back in that day. And my dad forgot to bring ropes. So I rode all the way home holding my bike up like, you know, I'm the proudest kid in the world. You know?
I love that.
But yeah. And then, yeah, so my racing career, so that was 1974, and I lived in a neighborhood where Bill Rowland was the master engine builder for all the fastest guys. We used to ride. They did. I used to go with them to all the races. But no, let me step back. So then anyways, so I started racing the following year in 75, and we're all gung-ho with my dad. And so we went to I did 4 flat track races. There was a really cool flat track in Graham, I heard it's still there. The fencing and everything's still there, and it's all grown over. But so I raced there and just got smoked because that's a year YZ80s came out, and you know it's like I'm on a box stock XR75.
Flat
But
track is for a whole new world. That I tried it one time, and the 65s and the 50s were passing me, and I was so mad.
It's a lot of fun
Full
though.
flat
But so
track bike, and I try to get the front brake, and it's not there, and you're like, oh my goodness.
No. Yes.
Trying to get you an image of a 75 for our viewers while you guys are chatting.
So so I raced those 4 races, and then I raced Puyallup Raceway Park at fifth race of my career, and then I did race up at it was called Seattle National Raceway back in the day, SIR.
Right.
And the cool part about that race, it was a deluge, and my buddy who basically taught me how to ride, Danny Knight, he had a 73 XR75. I had the 74, and I beat him. And that was a huge accomplishment because he is so pissed that he taught me to ride. And then we raced together for the first time, and I beat him. So he was not happy. And the thing about that race, you know, full face helmets, well, those didn't exist back in them days. We had open face helmet. And if you can see all the pictures, you had Carrera goggles, and you had a Jofa mouth guard. That was it. And I got past, you know, and I learned how to block in doing the little bit of flat track racing. And then plus all the ride we did with our friends. And I held off this one YZ80 as long as I could. We hit the back straightaway at Pacific or at SIR. And that sucker, he was going by no matter what. I'll never get it. He let loose of this rock. And it was like I was paralyzed. It just came straight at me. I couldn't even move, and it just dinged me right off the nose. And, you know, some things you never get. And it was pouring rain and blood pouring off my nose and everything, and I wasn't going to let Danny beat me. So that was a big accomplishment, 4th place, and I beat my buddy. And then that was the end of my, hey, there's my bike, dude. That was awesome, brother.
Yeah, it took me a moment. Photoshop was taking forever to load. I'm like, come on.
That's actually a 73.
Is it a 73? Okay.
The 74 would have the yellow when it came stock, and I think it had yellow XR75, and it had a little slimmer tank. But yeah. Amazing I could see that with my blind eyes, but
I know I made it really small.
So then I was so I had great aspirations to race and stuff, but I ended up having a child at 19, so kind of changed my life, you know. And the coolest thing is, and so back in the 70s, I watched all my heroes constantly blowing their knees out. So
I can relate.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough because at that point of my learning how to ride and teaching myself, self-taught myself to ride with feet on the pegs all the time, and I still do that to this day. And I know I'm not an innovator or anything because people are starting to do that, but
right,
it's just something I did because honestly, if I was going to be a racer, I didn't want to be one of them guys with blown out knees. So,
Yeah.
But then I had a child at I was 19, or actually 3 days before I was 19. And I'm still married to the same wife. She's sitting here right with me right now. And on March 15th of this year, we will have been married 45 years. So it's, yeah,
Nice.
that's really cool to me.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes. So I started racing again. I put my son through race. He raced all his, what we could, probably basically 13 to 20 something. And then once I quit spending all my money with him, and then I was a member of Seattle Motorcycle Club, so it was easy to just start racing. So, and I've been riding and racing, and actually at 64 years old, I'm faster than I've ever been. It's crazy. I just keep getting faster.
You are one hell of a rider, that's for sure.
Well, it sounds like you've never let off the throttle ever since you started way back when. So,
no.
Yeah,
No.
you definitely have that trait going on. I mean, once you're on a dirt bike, that's where I think our general public doesn't understand. Like, riding a motorcycle is so different, and it's like a different lifestyle. You jump on there and you learn these skills and whatnot. You learn how to process quick actions and everything. Like, there's so much more than just kick starting or like today's age, turning, hitting the electric start and going. There's so much you can learn from riding a motorcycle and even racing. So it's awesome hearing your stories of how you've been doing it throughout the decades at this point and still doing it today. Sorry, I didn't mean to age you.
Oh no, dude, I love it, man, because I get called old man and stuff, but then I go out and rip it on the track. It's like, well, where'd you come from?
Yeah, definitely not an old man on the track, that's for sure.
And so
he just has the beard hanging out the bottom of the helmet, you don't even know, got the hair flying. He's like, dude, this dude is just shredding. And pulls out his goggles, oh man.
Old man. Well, the hair thing was a thing of the 70s, and I brought it back myself because Marty Smith died at that point.
Yeah,
I almost was going to run 522. That's another trivial question.
Right?
That was his original race number when he first started racing.
We'll just have to have trivia with Randall every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I'll go out and dig out my cycle news box and start going through that. There'd be some real trivia because man, I've got lost out there in the garage before. You just sit there and you can you just keep digging. It's like you lose yourself in time, and you're just going back in history. But it's so cool and that was another thing that when growing up, so all these races would happen and we wouldn't get any information till if you didn't have Cycle News, it was a month later. But Cycle News, at least you get it a week later, So I was every week, like a kid at Christmas. Where's my Cycle News, man? Then once social media and all that came in, I kind of let my subscription go. So I probably carried it for probably 20 some years. But yeah, I think Go ahead.
For the club, are you ever thinking about doing a website or social media where people can see what's up, keep on what's going on, and figure out more ways to get into the meeting?
Yes. We're in the process. I just took over as president beginning of the year, basically. The end of January, and we're gonna get that for sure. Get everything. Get Facebook page. Get all that stuff. Instagram, and a website. And
Sweet.
My capabilities of doing that, it's like I have a hard enough time just doing a guide. No, I can do text. I'm kidding. And I have to do computer stuff every day, which I'm self-taught, and it is what it is. I just stumble through, I guess you can say. So it seems to work.
Process. If you ever need any help for media wise, I can always come up there and help as well, since I do a lot for Lexi as well, being her sponsor as a photographer and media person. So if you ever need help on the Instagram or Facebook side on marketing, I'm more than happy to help in my spare time for you.
Super cool. So with Lexi reaching out and wanting to help us out, and so I in turn, I want to repay her, and it's nothing monetary, but to me, I have friends that own tracks, and I have it's almost a track with dirt like ours, and I live at Lake Tapps. He's 20 minutes away down and towards Ording, and in fact, it's the old Kawasaki owner's place that he had, and he had 10 acres behind it. He had a track built by Joey Rumner. He was a local pro around here.
Yeah,
He still probably rides, I'm assuming, Joey. And I've known Joey forever. I knew him when he was on 60. Well, I know all these kids because I've watched them in all the motocross for years,
Right.
When we were still promoting, but, I miss it. But, now I get more time to ride. I just got to look at the better side of it. Not the better side, just be positive that we don't get to promote anymore.
Yeah, you get to enjoy your time more behind the handlebars.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, I talked to my friend Travis, and it's a really cool track. And he said, I would love to have her come and ride our track. And I'm going to give, if you give me the okay, I will just give him your information. And just like he does to me, text me when the track is rideable. And it's it doesn't have a water system, but right now, this time of year, it's perfect. I mean,
yes.
And so basically we ride in the afternoon until dark, and any weeknight, if the track's rideable, you're welcome. You're welcome to bring friends. The real sad part is, you buy something and you think it's for life, and he ended up buying extra. So he had bought 2 extra acres. So he actually has 12 acres back there. He even has a little wood section, but it's my crappy eyes. I can't ride it unless it's perfect light. But so he's open to having you come down and ride. And like I said, you can bring friends. And
That's awesome.
I think it's a great opportunity to get lots of training in for what you have coming forward to you. So that's what I have to offer to you in return for you doing what you're going to do for us.
Thank you.
Sweet. I don't think you're going to college, Lexi. You're just going to be racing dirt bikes forever.
That's my plan.
Yes.
Racing dirt bikes, pit side reporting, podcasting. What else are we going to add to our plate, Randall?
Well, she's going to be women's professional motocross champion.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Trying to work a lineup for her on one of our future guests, Avery Berry. She used to race for Factory KTM and Husqvarna in the MXGP class last couple of years in the women's division there. And then she raced for Rock River Yamaha. So I'm trying to line that one up here in a few weeks or months. That way Lexi can get some insight on how to go down that route as well, since she was a personal connection. Avery Berry was a personal connection with Roger DeCoster and got that whole thing worked out after winning Loretta's and doing all that.
Wow.
Yeah, super cool.
Very, very, very
all right.
cool.
Anything else you got on your list of questions, Lexi, or do you have any questions for us, Randall?
Well, you're obviously into motocross and all that. How long have you been riding? And I'm sure you're a lifetime junkie that rides. And I'm still like a kid. I couldn't wait to go ride last Saturday.
Yeah, I started before Lexi's time, just like you. I started in 2000 on a CRF 50. And just kind of my main track is Albany Motorsports Park off I-5, if you've ever traveled down here to Albany, Oregon. So that's been my main track for the longest time. I'd go to Washougal, Portland International Raceway, Mountain View, and Sandy, Oregon. That was kind of my mecca. Woodland Motocross Park in Woodland, Washington. That was like kind of the whole area of riding and racing throughout my short career, I call it, because I've retired multiple times like Brett Favre in the NFL, where I'm like, all right, I'm done. And then I come back a few years later and I'm like, I'm done again. And then I come back. But yeah, I've rode from 2000 to about, even this year, we'll resume again in 2025. So we got 25 years. Lexi and I have a joke race this September where we're going to race each other. And I'm probably going to get my doors blown off. But, at least I tried. But that's kind of my background. And then jumping in the media and just staying part of it. Once you're in motocross, like you're talking about with all your stories and whatnot, there's always like a way you're part of it and you never want to leave it. So like being a part of being the president of the club that you have. For me, I jumped down the media route and, found these awesome connections and friendships that I've built over the years. And, something that I'm enjoying a lot this year, especially with Lexi, is just watching her progression as well as other riders and see where they can take it from, where they're at on dirt bike racing, on the bike, and then, in front of the camera and everything else.
Right on.
Hopefully that answered everything. I tried to wrap it up.
Yes, very good. Yeah, it's one of the greatest sports on earth to me. We went through all stick and ball sports with my son because my wife, back in the day, it was called murder cross, and so it had a bad rap back in the day, and it took us a while for us to convince my wife that stick and ball sports suck.
You're gonna be putting the dog pound here in a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. It took us a while to get out of there, but once we did, and man, it creates such a honest, hardworking, devoted person. Motocross does that. You're so loyal, that you're so driven. You get up all the time. And my son, he was a good rider. He made it all the way. Pretty much what I see all the time is local guys that do like most local scenes can only do, can't do everything all weekends, and usually end up at the intermediate and kind of top out there, and I see that a lot, and that's where my son kind of topped out. And then it comes to a bank account thing also, at that point for
that's
everybody.
What happened for me when I got on my Suzuki RM85 in 2005. I knew I wasn't getting any faster. And then, I have a younger sister as well. So funds started transferring over to her, which is no problem. I mean, you can only go so far, but she, did her track and field in school. And that's how I figured out how to pay for my own stuff, by taking photos at the track and then going and riding and doing all that. So, my dad still helped a bunch, but just the cost of everything. But that would be another rabbit hole that will be here for another 45 minutes. Going down on that one. Lexi, anything else you have for Randall? And I look forward to seeing what you two and everything you guys got up north going on. And like I said, I'm always happy to help as well. Not like trying to invite myself, but if you need media, happy to help there.
Yes, I'm very excited to go back to the track and keep going and having fun.
Lexi, I need to get you a camera. That way I don't have to drive so much.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If she puts this all together with all her friends like that, how about a video that you could post online and show everybody that, hey, this is what we're up to. This is how we have fun, and
doing that, promoting your club, growing it, and making it easier for everyone, including like I said, your club and everyone around.
Right. And it's not like we're against males coming out there. We actually are going to have one of our members is putting on, I think he's calling a rock and ride. He's going to, open ride day. And then he's going to, one of our legacy members, such as I am.
Nice.
Once you're a 25-year member, you're a legacy. So anyways, so he's going to come and play, get a band together and play down at the property, and just try to, we're shooting darts at the wall and see what sticks and see if we can, gather some people that, more interest. And we've actually brought in some really cool people just in the last, thanks to Lexi and Dan and some of our other members. I met a really cool guy. He's an off-road guy. Ethan's his name. And he's off-road rider. So we have, and the cool thing also about our property is we back up to the Gifford Pinchot Forest, and that's some of the best, most scenic, beautiful riding. And also we have a member in our club right now who is rebuilding his cabin that was smashed by a big giant windstorm last spring. That would be Paul Neff. If anybody knows Paul Neff, he is a member of Seattle Motorcycle Club. He was the 22 winner of the Desert 100 at 34 years of age, which is pretty awesome.
Nice.
Really cool.
He also was a 2003, I believe, in Portugal. He rode with the guy that from KTM. Gosh dang it! In 2003, he rode a KTM over in Portugal and won a gold medal. Paul did. So nice. I'm brain farting on his partner. It was the guy was
It wasn't Kurt Caselli, was
Kurt
it?
Caselli, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
he rode with Kurt Caselli, 03 Portugal, and gold medal. So he's also a member, and I threw our club under the bus. I texted him last week, and I said that we will give all our club members a free club credit. If you need our help, call us, because we're all brothers, and we have plumbers, electricians, carpenters, everybody in our club. We'll come up and give our all to help you out, Paul, and he's down with it. So we're going to go up there and help him, but he's going through hell right now with insurance, and they don't want to give me anything anymore. So
Right.
yeah, poor guy.
Whatever we can do to help. Lexi, any final questions for Randall before we let him go? We'll have to have you on here for an extended version future on our shows, because I feel stories that need to be unpacked still. And,
oh man,
I'm getting texts from all of my buddies. They're like, dude, this Randall guy's got some awesome stories. You're gonna have to bring him on more. So yeah, we'll definitely have you on more often, and we'll have to do some history of motocross there to catch Lexi up, since she's a little bit behind.
Yeah,
so I was at Washougal. My very first time to Washougal was 1980. It was 2 months before my son was born. I dragged my wife up there. You wouldn't believe Washougal then, dude. There was trees everywhere. You had to literally walk everywhere. You couldn't see anything. We went up in on the ski jump landing, and that's all you could see was just right there in the corner, and the S-turn right after the landing. You couldn't see Chuck's Son, which was a jump back then, the old part of the track. I could tell you stories all day. 2006, James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, most epic race.
I was there that day.
That was sick, dude. Sick. Jason McCormick, I don't know what year it was when Ricky was on Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and I think he was on some crazy unbeaten streak. And Jason McCormick, he beat him a moto or the overall, but I mean, Washougal blew up. I could tell you stories of Washougal all day. It's insanity, dude.
We'll have to have a Washougal segment. I can get Ryan Huffman on here, and we can just pow down on Washougal history. All right. Anything else, Lexi, before we let Randall go?
Thank you so much for coming on. That's awesome.
Hey, I love it, because I'm a motocross freak, and I've been doing it my whole life. And whatever I can give back to the sport, I'm here. And I'd love to. Anybody who wants to join our club, please come and join us. We've always said, well, do we need a top out number? And I said, hey, I want to get there first, and then we'll decide what the damn top out number is. I mean, come on, dude. We're down to 20 dudes here. I think we jumped at least to probably 28 in the last month. So we're coming along.
We'll definitely grow it. Thanks for joining us tonight on the 30+2 podcast, Randall. I look forward to meeting you in person, and we'll definitely hear more stories from you in the future.
Peace out, brother. Thank you, guys. Lexi, love you. I will get you Travis's information. You go ride. It's a beautiful track, and you can ride anytime. He's my brother and your brother also.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sweet. Have a good night. We're going to go to a commercial break, and then Lexi and I are going to finish up with our podcast. Coming to Horn Rapids Motorcycle Complex, April 7th through 9th. Next Level MX Clinics brings you the 2025 Spring Break MX Camp. Joining forces with the Clinic MX, Jason Valley and Mike Smith have a week full of fun ready for you. Training, coaching, learning on and off the bike, and bonus events included in a week full of fun. Pit bike racing, hole shot challenge, and start school lined up all for you. Join Next Level MX April 7th through 9th at Horn Rapids Motorcycle Complex. To register, head to nextlevelmx.com. Limited spot. All right, and we are back, Lexi. What a great guest. Great lineup there, Lexi, with Randall. We're going to have to definitely have him on for future shows, and we're going to have to, probably go into longer formats. I think we might be reaching the next stage where we go to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4. And then Lexi's like, I'm tired. But great info right there. And great job on getting Randall on, and you got the golden ticket from the sounds of it to do much more and ride much more up there. So now you got to get me to get in there as well and be like, hey, I got a camera guy. He can shoot cool stuff and whatnot. And then, yeah, let's continue to promote and do everything else. Speaking of promotions, commercial that went through Next Level MX Clinics, jumping in with the Clinic MX April 7th through 9th is at Horn Rapids for their spring break camp. It's getting crazy on the schedule, Lexi. We have so much stuff that is just coming every single weekend. It's just not going to stop ever. And I have announcements next Tuesday. I will announce some life changes for myself as well. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to still be around, but we're going to make some changes to the lifestyle to make my life easier and also promote and build another company as well. Kind of jumping through towards the end here, we do have the Gate Drop Showdown 3.0 sponsor partnerships. Wow. Sponsor partnerships are now available. Email gatedrop125@gmail.com on how to be a part of it. The announcements, which I need to still make that video because I'm a little bit behind. JMC Motorsports is coming back as our title sponsors. So thank you, Michelle and Joel. We're all JMC'd out, by the way, as you can tell. Make sure to support your local shops and whatnot. We've got Dirty Boy Lifestyles coming back and also Legacy Racewear and much more coming down the pipeline. So yeah, things are coming into effect. And if you jump on early, if you're a small business, I can make it work for you. If you're graphics, you do, shirts or whatnot. Pretty much anything. This is a great event to come and attend and promote yourself. And Lexi, I think we need to get Randall and his club to come down and watch you smoke me in our race and smoke everyone in the women's class. I think that would be a pretty good invite to bring them down and then also promote their club as well, since we get, so many people that come down to Albany for the showdown.
Yes.
But yeah, we are at the 57-minute mark. I did say I wanted to go through a little bit of a TED Talk just because it's not necessarily bothering me, but I'm just wanted to do a little bit of caution for just our new riders of our new media people that are coming into the sport. So motocross is dangerous, Lexi. Is that you can agree on that, right? Yeah. So I'm not trying to rant, and it's not trying to make a rant. I'm just trying to help all my new media people out because I don't know if they just aren't aware of like how things are ran on tracks and things I've learned in my 15 years of doing media, especially in the dirt bike world and whatnot, is one thing that's important, just like for you probably at racetracks and whatnot and going to private places, is asking permission before you even show up.
Yes.
That needs to be a thing that you need to get in habit of, because with certain racetracks and series and whatnot, there could be certain like contracts where you're not able to be there. They only have certain limits of how many people are allowed to be out there, but don't just waltz onto the track, even if you feel like it's pretty lax at the track. I just want to give some pro tips to all the newcomers, because I know they're excited and they want to cover our sport, but I don't also want it to be ruined for all of us when things aren't being followed. So my keys to kind of like being a successful media person in the Pacific Northwest as well as anywhere is talk to the track owner, talk to the promoter ahead of time. Don't drive 4 to 6 hours and then be like, well, why am I getting booted off the track? Well, you didn't go through the processes. A lot of these tracks, they're hampering down on insurances and whatnot because it is a dangerous sport. You never know when Hoyt Stigham's going to come off the track and almost nail your boy Kristoff here. Luckily, he didn't, but we were close. But you never know when that's going to happen. Like I had a friend way back when down in California walking on the backside of a berm, and she got her whole shoulder and collarbone smoked by a bike that flew off the backside of the berm while she was doing media. So there's just insurance and forms and whatnot. Make sure, like I said, reach out. All of our people are really nice, and if they're like, hey, I can't get a hold of so-and-so, and you reach out to me, I can try to give you the best connections to reach out to that promoter or track owner, because I just want to keep it safe for all of us, because if one of us gets hit as media, we're probably going to start being restricted in certain places and then not have any photographers out there, and that ruins my business, that ruins your business, that ruins everything, and we don't need that to continue on our insurance issues that we have at the racetracks. So yeah, reach out. I know Devin at Horn is happy to help you through all the forms and processes, and some other tracks are able to do that as well. But yeah, always ask in advance before just walking out there. And this is my pet peeve and rant. There's certain tracks that Lexi, I'm sorry. I had the rant. Ones that are a little lax on the high vis and wearing vests and whatnot. If you're not wearing your high vis and vest, let me give you why it helps a bunch here for those that are maybe watching or not. The high visibility really helps, and I'm a rider too. It helps as a rider perspective to know where you are at on the track. I mean, one, it helps like for Lexi when she's coming around the jump and she sees me from like Mars on like getting ready for a nice whip photo, like she can see me like over there. But like they also can avoid you by seeing you. If you're all in black and whatnot, that doesn't really help. And then it also makes you look like a spectator. So then you're probably going to get yelled at by a track crew person because they don't know who you are, what you are. Like branding helps with also growing your business. So I would honestly put your vest on, put your branding on, and that will help you grow. And then it also like separates all of us in case you do something, unintentionally wrong and you like say, stand on the outside of a first turn and get smoked by the 450 junior class. And then someone's all like, oh, who was that? Oh, I think it was Kristoff. Well, no, it wasn't Kristoff. It was just some random dude in black that looked like Kristoff. Like it helps all of us out. So don't be too lax. Like you got to take this serious like, in business and whatnot. And I really don't want to be that guy that would be like, come on now. Like, I don't want to be yelling at clouds or get off my lawn, but it helps with all of us. And with me being a business, trying to like run everything and support my household and everything, like just kind of think a little bit before you go out and do something. If you like analyze a section and the banner's blown down, it's probably not a good section to stand in. Like, just don't stand there. Because I watched someone almost get smoked after I told the specific individual, hey, I would not stand here. They're going to get blown wide. I've already seen it happen. And it kind of felt like it was like a little bit of arrogance. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to ruin your photos. I'm just trying to keep you from honestly being put in a body bag because that does happen. Like, our sport is dangerous. I'm like, real talk. We even though it wasn't on the track, but I had someone, your dad and I witnessed someone literally die in front of us on Saturday after the races. Like, because just because of circumstances, no high vis and all that stuff. Like, not saying it's related, but you never know when you're going to get hit, like on the track and off the track. So that's kind of all I had. Just kind of quick wrap it up on that my TED talk. But yeah, any rebuttal there, Lexi, on any of my stuff that I kind of did more professionally without saying get off my lawn?
I think that was good. Covered it all.
Well, what we got going on for next Tuesday? I know you got some stuff going on. What do you have going on this weekend? It's looking a little wet.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I was thinking about going to Randall. I was thinking about going to Exit 52 and training.
Yeah.
But they all look like it's supposed to rain, and I don't really want to ride in the rain. So
yeah, I'm becoming a fair weather photographer.
Only day I can ride. So we'll have to see where I end up Sunday.
Yeah, well, I think Lexi, I'm sorry, but I think I'm gonna go to church and get my Jesus on Sunday. Like, sorry, no, okay, that sounded really offensive to Jesus. I probably have to really work on praying now because he's probably like, bro, you're going to hell. I think I'm gonna take this weekend off. It just looks a little icky, and yeah. Okay, I have a question for you because we had similar kind of breaks in our feet. How long has it taken for your foot to stop aching? Because my foot still aches, and we're in March now. Like, bro.
I think it was probably like November, and then I've had no pain since.
Okay, so when did you get all your stuff taken off?
I broke it on June 22nd, had surgery on July 3rd, and I still have everything in my ankle.
Okay, so you're just going to leave it in there forever?
Yep, unless it bothers me, then we get it out. But
Yeah.
luckily,
don't-
I did not do well with surgery. Well, the surgery went great and it went perfect.
Yeah.
But anything with needles, anything scary like that, I do not do well with. So I'm very glad I didn't have to go back under to get it out.
We were like one of the same. Like I am not a needle person either. And like that, it depends on how much blood there is. I'm like, man, that's all right. Then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, in the hospital, it was definitely a rough time, especially when only one parent was supposed to go back, and then ended up, I was like, I need my dad. So I got both of them back there, but definitely not the proudest moment.
It's all right. Lexi knows how to pull strings.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, my foot still hurts. Like, and it's just like we're in March now. Like, I got like out the beginning. What was it? Beginning of February? Middle of February is when I got the screws.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back. I think it was middle of February. Yeah, but it's just like, dude, what is going on? Like, I want to race you and I want to smoke you, but my foot hurt.
Well, maybe you're just too hard on it. I was very good about listening to the doctors with my ankle.
Yeah, I know some of your text threads. You really like to roast me, so whatever. You're like, I'm gonna poke fun at this guy. They hurt my feelings at times. All right, that's a wrap. We're in hour 6. I gotta go to work here in about 3.5 hours.
I'm gonna go do some homework and go to sleep.
R.I.P. to Kristoff. I'm gonna be working throwing frozen ice cream. So if you need any ice cream at Fred Meyer, let me know. I can get you some Haagen-Dazs. That's a wrap on our show. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and follow. Hang on, Lexi. Bam. On Instagram at GateDrop_pro. And Lexi, I know you're catching up on the followers here.
Yes, at le.xi_y7 on Instagram and Facebook.
All right, that's a wrap. We will see you next Tuesday with a guest. We have someone.
Yes.
We don't want to say who it is, but yeah.
Nope.
Stay tuned. All right.